Well, hello there everybody. My name is Kristen. Welcome to my channel. Here I like to talk about social and cultural issues, usually through the lens of pop culture, public figures, and popular media, but not always. Today's subject is going to be Miley Cyrus. Woo! I upload every Wednesday, so if this video topic sounds interesting to you, or if any of my past videos sound interesting to you, please feel free to subscribe and come back next Wednesday.
Hi, so just a quick little message. I am gonna be including interview clips from interviews Miley has done. Unfortunately, my original upload of this video, those interviews caused the video to be blocked. So I had to edit things to hopefully get by the content, filter thing, whatever. So if there is a weird filter, or the videos are sped up, or there's a weird pitch, or there's kind of loud music in the background of the interviews, that's why. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so this is just a little PSA. Thank you for understanding. Yeah, back to the video.
In a promotional interview for her most recent album, Plastic Hearts, Miley Cyrus admitted that there was a period of time during her career that really felt like she wasn't being true to herself. Kind of like the lost years of Miley Cyrus, if you will.
Actually, when I look at my career, there was really only a 2-year or 1-year period that doesn't really make sense. And I think, you and I probably know that it has to do kind of with that more like Younger Now kind of Malibu era. And I think what happened in that, which does happen to a lot of people, and it's not to villainize the partner, but you lose yourself in someone else sometimes.
If anyone has followed Miley's life closely, you kind of know who she's talking about. She's talking about Liam Hemsworth, her ex-husband. And so this video is going to be looking at that few-year period where Miley feels like it didn't really make sense and she wasn't really being true to herself. We're going to just be looking at the Miley Cyrus lost years today. So get something to drink, get a snack, get comfortable, and let's talk about it. Before we can talk about Miley Cyrus's lost years, we kind of need to give a little bit of exposition, a little bit of background as to like where we're starting off this story. So as you probably know, Miley played Hannah Montana on the Disney Channel original series, as well as performed as Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus in her Disney, music releases. So for many years in Miley's career, she was quite literally playing a character all of the time. She was either playing Hannah Montana or she was playing the public persona of Miley Cyrus.
Playing a character for so long, like I was a character and people loved me as a character. Beyonce. I have a hard time not associating that certain songs that I don't relate to anymore were just another character that people love more than they love the real me.
After she was no longer contractually obligated to Disney, it's no surprise that she started to push away from this image and kind of rebel against it. You might recall her song Can't Be Tamed, singing about how she's, she can't be tamed. And then the more memorable Bangers album with that song We Can't Stop, which I'm sure you couldn't stop playing that summer, as well as some other songs in the album. We really saw Miley rebelling and pushing against that carefully crafted, pure image that Disney had created for her. And this was a time where you could argue that she was doing some self-exploration and trying to assert her independence. But at the same time, if what you're doing is a reaction against something else, how much of that is really a reflection of you versus just an inverted reflection of what somebody was trying to put on you? Does that make sense? After she got through, the Bangers era and her Dead Pets era, she, I think, had gotten it out of her system, that need to rebel and react and push back. And I think she was ready to really start looking for, who is she? Who am I at my core when I'm not trying to, convince people that I'm not a Disney star anymore? Who am I when I'm not trying to rebel against Disney? Who am I when I'm not trying to shock people? And you know what I mean? So, and this is where we enter her lost period, where she doesn't really know who she is because, again, she's been playing a character. When she was Hannah Montana, she was playing a character, and during her Bangers and Dead Pets era, she was almost playing a different kind of character.
Or like Hannah Montana, or like Pardon the USA, or like We Can't Stop, or Wrecking Ball, and then every time I make a music video, someone wondering, is she gonna make another Wrecking Ball? Right. Is it ever gonna be like that again? I don't know if I'll ever make that again.
So our story begins in March of 2016. Miley is still trying to find herself, and she and her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Liam Hemsworth, are getting back together. They've been dating on again and off again since 2010 when they met filming the last song. And in March of 2016, they got back together again. After they got back together, there were lots of cute pictures of them going up on social media, them with their dog, them living in California together. I remember thinking they were just the cutest couple ever and being happy for them when I found out they got together, or found out they got back together. Miley started working on music again in 2017. In May of 2017, she released the first single on the upcoming album, Younger Now, called Malibu. In this single, in an interview, she says that she actually wrote it in an Uber, and that same day, she recorded it and made it. Like, this whole song was made in a day. And it's really kind of like a time capsule. It's very representative of how she was feeling in that moment in time. And when she released Malibu, she also announced that this would be the first single on her upcoming album. And so at this point, she kind of backed herself against a wall and forced herself to release something. She didn't have any songs written for this new album, aside from the first one, Malibu, when she announced it. And so she spent the summer of 2017 really, working on this album and getting it together. So the first single was Malibu. It was a really sweet song about how just happy she is to be where she is, and she's really glad that Liam brought her where she is, and she just feels very at peace with life. Her next song on the album was called Younger Now, and it's about just how, in life you're constantly changing and evolving, and that's really the one thing you can rely on, is that things will change. And in interviews, she has said that the phrase younger now, what it means to her is like, there was a time period when she was really trying to be mature and trying to act older. And now that she is older and more confident in herself, she doesn't really feel the need to act like she's older. So paradoxically, she feels like she's younger now because she's no longer so, obsessed with trying to seem like an adult. So she's able to act young again. And so that's kind of what the song and the album was supposed to mean.
Yes, Malibu is about being in love and being free, but finding self-love first, because I don't like that people think a relationship is you're supposed to be
it's just saving
two
salvation,
half people,
right,
and then you
right.
create this little love heart because you're just two halves, and then you come together and then you're full. I am full. I am me. I am totally 1,000% full. There's someone on the planet that I like a fucking lot, and I love a lot, and would rather share my time with than anyone else, or talk to more than anyone else. But I'm full. So younger now is my own self-love of I'm happy to be where I'm at. This is I'm the most me for right now that I can be. But Dead Pets was the most me, and The Bangers is the most me, but this is the most me right now.
And so throughout this summer, she and Liam are, still dating. They're living together in California. She's working on these songs. And things, I don't know how things were going in their relationship at the time, but I do know that the songs that she wrote after Malibu and Younger Now aren't as happy-go-lucky necessarily. Not all of them appear to depict a happy relationship with Liam. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Malibu came out in May, Younger Now came out in August, and then Younger Now, the song, came out in August. The album itself came out in September. In October, on October 30th, Miley said that she would not be releasing any further promotional singles for the album, and that she would not be touring in support of the album either. Which was a really strange move. It's really odd to decide to stop promoting your album. So I have a bit of a theory as to what went on with that. Obviously, I have no idea what happened. I'm not Miley, I don't know Miley. This is all speculation. Please do not take this as truth, okay? But Miley and Liam, they got engaged in October of 2017, right? And it was at the end of October when she announced that she would not be promoting this album or doing a tour for this album, right? And I also already kind of mentioned that after those first two songs, a lot of the songs on the album seem to talk about a relationship that's not going super well. And given that we know she wrote all of the songs that summer while she was with Liam, it seems like some of those songs could be about her relationship with Liam and describing relationship problems. And so my theory is that, she wrote all these songs kind of trashing him, and we'll get into the songs that she wrote, and what I think they say about the relationship. But then she got engaged to him, right? And so I would imagine there was probably some, maybe tension around promoting this album that kind of drags him in a couple songs. And maybe she didn't want to promote it because she didn't, I don't know. To me, it seems like the decision to stop promoting this album, to me, it seems related to her engagement to Liam and to the fact that this album is not especially generous to Liam in the lyrics. In fact, one of the songs even says it'll be a cold day in hell before I'll ever be your wife. So she literally is singing about how she's never gonna marry this guy, and then she gets engaged to him. So, I can see why she stopped promoting that. I wouldn't want to promote an album where I sing about how I'm not gonna marry my fiance either. So, Miley actually gave multiple reasons why she wasn't promoting Younger Now that didn't relate to Liam. She told one interviewer that it was because she didn't want to leave her pigs at home. She told someone else that it was because she needed to focus on her job at The Voice. And then she told another interviewer that she was just over it and she was ready to move on to the next project. So to me, the fact that she gave so many different answers as to why she wasn't promoting Younger Now anymore, again, that indicates to me that the answers she gave were not accurate, and I think it had to do with her relationship. The album did okay. It was released, it charted in like the top 10, which was now Miley's 11th album to reach the top 10. So it did okay. For any other artist, I think you would describe its performance as quite good. Making it into the top 10 is pretty freaking good. But for Miley, honestly, it wasn't that great. Because again, this was her 11th album to make it to the Billboard top 10. It only stayed in the top 10 for a week, and then it fell to number 36 after that. So I think that indicates that the album sold a bunch because it was Miley, but it didn't keep selling because it wasn't that good. My impression of the album is that it's disjointed a little bit. Malibu and Younger Now, they really feel like they belong together, right? And then there's a song called Rainbow Land, which is just, honestly, it's goofy, in my opinion. I don't really think it belongs on the album at all, but she made it with Dolly Parton, her godmother, so obviously it's a special song to her and Dolly. And then there's a bunch of songs about relationship problems on there, and it kind of feels like it darts from idea to idea. It's just, I didn't find it to be especially coherent. I do like individual songs on the album, but I don't necessarily enjoy the experience of listening to the album from start to end the way I might with an especially well-crafted album. Pitchfork writer Claire Lobenfeld gave it a 4.7 out of 10, and she basically said, bland production and weak songwriting hamstring the personalized nature of Younger Now, making it merely a suggestion of the kind of artist Miley Cyrus could be. And I think that statement at the end, that this album is merely a suggestion of the kind of artist she could be, was very, very accurate, because when I listen to Younger Now, and then I go listen to her next album, Plastic Hearts, I can see how some of the stuff she did on Younger Now laid the foundations for what she would do with Plastic Hearts. So I really do think it was an album that kind of showed her potential, but it didn't really reach her potential. A writer for Spins named Jordan Sargent said it was her least honest album ever. And he said, where her past albums felt messy but painfully sincere, Younger Now comes off as safe and overly sanitized. So after Younger Now came out in September of 2017, she began working on her next project pretty much right away. And this was going to be 2 EPs followed by an album. And they were like, she is Miley Cyrus, she is coming, she is here, or something. It was all she is, da 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 da. And so it was all kind of based around her identity. So as time goes by, she and Liam are engaged still. She's working on the She Is project. And then in November of 2018, their lives got really flipped upside down. The Woolsey fire that affected California burned down their house. And the only thing that was left of their house was 4 letters that spelled love that they had hanging, I guess, on the wall or something. And so Liam had posted a picture of all that was left was love. And it was really poetic. And I think this really emotional time of having your house burned down really heightened everything between them. And so in December of 2018, she and Liam got married. And she said in an interview that it was kind of out of character because they had worn rings forever and they definitely didn't need it in any way. And she says that the loss of their home seemed to catalyze getting married because the timing just felt right, and because the burning down of the house made them realize, no one's promised the next day or the next, and so she wanted to try to be in the now as much as possible. And so I think that's how they ended up getting married. And they would stay married for about a year. It would take, the marriage would be officially dissolved about a year after it began, a little more than a year. Unfortunately for them, I guess, or fortunately, I don't know. I guess it was probably what was best for them. So yeah, they got married in December 2018. She's still working on the She Is project at this point, and she finishes working on it in May of 2019. And the intention was to release it in June, but the June release date came and went, and she didn't release it. And it seems to me, looking back, that during this time period, the relationship problems that were kind of highlighted in Younger Now were coming to a head because they would separate soon after this. So this feels like a good time for me to actually go through some of those songs and talk about, what I mean when I say she roasted him in this album and their relationship didn't seem to be going super great. So let's just quickly look through some of the lyrics of these songs so that we can try to get a little bit of an understanding of what went wrong in the relationship. So the first song that stood out to me as being about Liam in a negative way was the song Bad Mood. And it opens with, "We're held together just by a string. While you're hanging around with your crew, I'm here balancing too many things. I always wake up in a bad mood. I'm sick of rushing straight to the sink. You know it's gone on way too long, don't you? And you know what's wrong, don't you?" Yeah. And then she says she's had enough, and she says sometimes it feels like it's all about to end. So all of these lyrics to me, they sound like someone who is not happy in their relationship, right? She wakes up every day in a bad mood. She feels like they're hanging on by a string. She doesn't know how much more she can take. All this stuff is very much like not sounding super happy with Liam. Okay? So then the next song that I want to talk about that seems to give some information about what went wrong in their relationship is the song Thinkin'. So she says, "I don't know where you always go. Why are you trying to keep it on the low? I'm always like, where the heck you've been? You tell me you've just been hanging with your friends. Something seems a little sus. We ain't got nothing if there ain't no trust. You got me thinking way too much." And then she says, one of the refrains that's repeated in the song is actually, "All I do is think about you." So it sounds like this relationship is really taking up a lot of her. And it kind of tracks with what she would say later about feeling like she got lost in the relationship. Because there it is in this song where she says she's literally always thinking about him. And that's a problem. You don't want your partner to be the only thing you think about. The third song that I want to look at on Younger Now that seems to kind of hint at what went wrong in their relationship is called Love Someone. She says, "I'm getting tired of dealing with all your stress. I'm starting to think you have no heart. You don't even have a soul. You always give in or you try too late. All I do is give and all you do is take. I'm tired of protecting you from what you need to know. Ever since the day I met you, I knew you weren't the one. But nothing ever stops me from forgetting, packing all my stuff and moving on. I'm not sure I'd even go because I made your house my home. It's come to an end. I hate how it's been. Lights are getting dim and the walls are caving in. And it's time for this queen to go and run another throne. I went and made you my life, and don't you dare say I don't care. When I need you the most, you know you've never been there. It'll be a cold day in hell before I'd ever be your wife." So yeah, as you can, kind of tell from those three songs, it sounds like they had trust issues. It sounds like there were some communication issues. And it sounds like Miley didn't necessarily feel supported in her relationship. And so, it seems like that's part of what caused them to break up. So all of these relationship problems, in relation to communication, trust, and just being supportive of each other came to a head and caused their separation in August of 2019. It was on August 10th that Miley announced they were separated. And then 11 days later, Liam filed for divorce, and he cited irreconcilable differences as the reason. It was at this point, now that the She Is project release date had come and gone, and they'd announced their separation, that it seems like Miley officially shelved that project completely. And if I had to guess, I would say, because she's an artist who writes about her own experiences, I bet a lot of that project related to her and Liam's relationship, and it probably just didn't feel right to release it at this point knowing the relationship was over. Now, Miley has now gone through losing her home in a fire, having her relationship kind of fall apart and have to end, this time for hopefully probably the last time. And she, kind of had to look back in the last few years and realize that she wasn't being true to herself, and she kind of had to pick herself up and, move forward. And so she started working on music again, working on what would be Plastic Hearts. So our story kind of ends on a high note. With New Year's Day 2020, Miley, she uploaded a highlight video of the last 10 years, and she announced the new era starts now. And so it seems like, all this, the period of the lost years where she really was kind of floundering and kind of lost in her relationship and trying to find herself, it kind of ended with her realizing this relationship wasn't working for her, accepting that, separating from him, and then getting into making music again. And when Plastic Hearts came out, I'm sure if you listened to it, you recognized that it really did come off authentic and it was good. It really worked for her, and it seems like she's really come into her own. And so the story has a happy ending. She and Liam's divorce was finalized in January 2020. To celebrate her divorce from Liam Hemsworth, she actually got a tattoo of a note that Yoko Ono had written her on her left shoulder blade. So our story ends with, Miley announcing Plastic Hearts and her and Liam's divorce finalizing. And we kind of see that Miley, at the end of this story, has really come into her own more. And she seems to really be doing something more true to herself. And it's not her trying to rebel against Disney. It's not her trying to make herself fit into the right mold for her relationship. It's just her being unapologetically herself. And it's great to see. And so that's kind of where we reached the end for this video. I might do a video about the Plastic Hearts era, or I might go back and look at the Bangers era. I'm not sure. I'm sure, though, that I will talk about Miley Cyrus again. I just wanted to tell, a chapter of her story. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you are a new subscriber, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate everybody who supports me and who takes time out of their day to see what I have to say. And yeah, with that, I upload every Wednesday. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Editing Kristen here, just providing some bonus footage of Poe asleep in my lap while I was editing this video earlier. Have a good day, bye!